Okay, so I'll just let the cat out of the bed. I grew up Amish Mennonite.
Okay.
So like horse and buggies.
I can't even imagine. Do we have a photo?
Not many people know this. So you are pulling it out.
You and now 500,000 people. Welcome back to another episode of the Tooth or Dare podcast, Peeps, with your peep Irene. Hello, welcome. I'm joined by a fellow dental hygienist. Hello, Melissa.
Hi.
How are you, Turner?
Hi, Irene. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good. We're here in Florida, in the sunny Orlando at SmileCon.
It's so sunny in here.
It's not that sunny in here, but it is hella hot outside. I curled my hair and then my curls are like basically gone. Humidity for Irene 0. Yeah. Okay, so I don't really know a whole ton of your history. We met, where did we even meet? At a conference somewhere. We hung out for like 5 minutes by a pool one night. Do you remember that night?
You took a fantastic photo of me. It's my favorite photo ever. Favorite.
My claim to fame is taking good photos. And then that was it. Like we're like two ships passing in the night most of the time in passing. So let's like do a way back, playback. Like take me back to birth. Like where were you? Where did you? Let's go to baby Melissa.
There we go. Really? You want to go all the way back?
That's what I do on the podcast.
Hey, there we go. Okay.
Go goes.
Okay.
Baby Melissa. I want to hear all the good, the bad. I'll pull it out of you. Don't worry. We'll get there.
Do we have any wine?
No, I wish we
did.
No
whiskey?
No. We don't have any booze.
Okay.
No
well,
booze.
next time. Part two.
Yeah.
Well, see, okay, first of all, though, just full disclaimer, I lost my voice a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So for
you
all...
got a Macy Gray thing going on. I try and say goodbye.
What are we, 90s kids or something?
I mean, hey.
But you promised you would make my voice sexy.
I
so
will.
Here we go.
We'll do it in post.
There we go. Okay, so you would go all the way back to birth. Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago. Well, I grew up on the East Coast in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Small farming community. God bless them.
Okay.
Love going back and watching the corn just grow and grow and grow. Favorite time of the year.
Okay.
Youngest of 4. Wonderful family.
Yeah.
But by the time I was 18, I said, good Lord, get me out of here.
No way. Really?
So I moved as far away as I thought possible. I thought I was moving to the Midwest, actually. This was before internet.
Okay.
And here.
This was before internet?
Well, actually, internet, it just come out.
It was just like,
It's dialing up.
Yeah. Mom, I'm on the phone. Yeah.
My AOL CDs, they all the hours on them, whatever. Well, so I moved to Oregon, to a small beach town in Oregon, but I really thought it was Midwest. But I got there and I'm like,
at
oh my gosh.
18, though, that's really young.
That's really young.
How did you even know to do any of that at that age?
Well, there was a small school out there that I was like, okay, this is a good excuse to go to. It was a small Bible school, actually.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and like see if I like it, see what I can do. And dude, I found my people.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, it was just West Coast versus East Coast. There's a huge difference. I mean, in Canada too, I'm sure. Yeah. But in the US, like there's a huge difference. I mean, any of the 4 corners. But I love the Northeast where I grew up, but I am at home on the West Coast. And so I moved out there and I said, this is wonderful. And then after that was over, I came back to Pennsylvania and I went to hygiene school.
Cool.
And I said, someday, somewhere, I'm going to get back to Oregon because I love it out there. And it took probably about 15 years to get back there.
Really?
But now we're back and we've been there for 5 years. And it's just like...
Did you always know you wanted to get into dental hygiene?
No.
No?
No.
What
I
made
never
you
wanted to go to college.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did you envision that your life was going to look like?
Oh, I was going to be a mom.
Yeah.
You know, because I grew up very conservative, very farm, oriented.
Were your parents farmers?
My parents weren't farmers, but they grew up, everybody around me was farmers.
Yeah.
And so I spent so much time on farms. But I'm like, there was never I didn't have to go to college. I could if I wanted to. But I remember after I came back from Oregon that first time back to Pennsylvania, I was looking for jobs in the newspaper again, like pre-internet.
I did that too. I remember that, like
Classifieds.
circling them, and then you have to like physically call somebody.
Yes. And it was also around the time that I need to get my wisdom teeth out.
Okay.
And so what I did was I looked for jobs. I'm like, what's the one job that is most readily available with the most ads in the paper? And it was dental assisting.
No way.
And so I said, okay, I can kill two birds with one stone.
Nothing has changed.
I know.
It's still the most highly sought after position in all newspapers and online.
God, yes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I get my wisdom teeth out and like on the job train and apply for a job at the same time? Like we can all kind of do that all at once. And so that's what happened. So I started dental assisting, and that one of the hygienists there, her name was Julia. And she was probably my first like mentor I ever had. And she's like, Melissa, you need to be a hygienist. She's like, that's who you need to be. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I went to hygiene school, and like, it's just the power of one person's suggestion is amazing. Like for better or for worse, like they could suggest something bad, they could suggest something good, but either way, just that one person giving that bit of inspiration, changed my life. So that led me into everything I'm doing today, 20 years in dentistry.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know. It's crazy when you like count the
Yeah.
I don't want to count.
Just count backwards.
Can we count backwards a little bit? Oh my gosh. I know. I feel the same way. So I'm 17 years and it's like, where's baby Irene? I miss that girl.
She is way down in
She's
there.
somewhere hiding. So, okay. So let's talk about your kind of career path in hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
So graduated in 2004.
It would have been 09. So I was assisting for a while.
Oh, okay. So you graduated in 09.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
You're quick with numbers. Nice job.
Yeah. I have a very weird brain. Yeah. Yeah. Katrina can tell you about that.
Oh,
anyways, so graduated dental hygiene school, and then what?
Mm-hmm. So, oh boy. Okay, here you go. So graduated dental hygiene school in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
What we didn't say yet is that I got married during hygiene school. Would not recommend that.
Okay.
For sanity's sake.
Did you meet him from like back home, or did you meet him while you were in school?
So while I was assisting, I met him. He was going to school a couple hours away from my hometown. So I didn't know him before that. So I was 19 or 20 when I met him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you got married during
long
school.
Distance, dated, and then
that must be so hard before internet and texting.
Can you imagine? It was paper text.
You just like send, here's a note. Here's 15 notes. Open one every other day until I see you again. Oh my God. I did that with one ex. We had a notebook. We would pass a notebook back and forth.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It was really cute. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I burnt that notebook.
What? How's your story? On fire. You need to keep that to yourself.
He's gone.
Well, this was paper text, and it was before all the acronyms.
Yeah,
like,
and you had to like push number 3-4 times to get to like an E. Yeah,
you're gonna make me cough and laugh at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that happened, and then what?
Where are we at? So, graduated. So then graduated in Pennsylvania, and right away we had to move to New Jersey for his school, to finish his school.
Okay.
So we moved to New Jersey. So at that point, I was working in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And so then we were there for 4 years. And he said, oh, Melissa, how would you like to live in London, England for a while? And I said, okay. So we moved there for a year, came back. And he's like, okay, now my job's going to take me to Portland, Oregon for a year. And I was excited because that's where I wanted to live.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but now I need to get a Portland license. So by then I was juggling 3 different state licenses and all the CE that goes with that.
Yeah.
So we were in Portland for a year, and naively I thought, oh, we're going to stay here forever because this is where I want to be. And he's like, Melissa, I have one more like thing in my educational journey that I have to get done to get my dream job. And
what was his dream job? Astronaut? Like, do you have to move to countries, state lines? There's a carrier pigeon sending notes to you. Like, what does he do? What did this guy do? Please don't tell me he's like, yeah, he like worked IT for like, I don't know.
He's a chaplain.
Stop. Like, I can't. I have no comments. I will make no comments.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying.
I don't even know what a chaplain is.
You don't know what a chaplain
No
is? It's
idea.
like a pastor in a hospital. Like,
Wait, in a hospital?
like a spiritual person in a hospital, like on your deathbed.
Oh.
You know, it's the guy who comes up or gal who comes up and like prays with you. Anyway, but he works for, because he has a military background, he works for the veterans hospitals.
Okay, so he was a military / hospital church chaplain.
He's an ordained minister. Yeah.
Now he's an ordained minister. I can't even make the words with my mouth. This is how little I know about religion. It's terrible.
Well, let me educate
all my
you,
cards.
because I know enough for both of us.
Okay.
So he basically
So this was perfect because your family was like spiritually religious.
Oh yeah.
So you were married to like that literally God basically.
Except not, because so I'll just let the cat out of the bed. I grew up Amish Mennonite.
Okay.
So like horse and buggies.
I can't even imagine. Do we have a photo?
Not many people know this. So you are pulling it out.
You and now 500,000 people.
So I never dressed plain, but everybody around me did. Anyway, but the thing with Amish Mennonites is we don't say like the Pledge of Allegiance. The Amish don't pay taxes. Like they are anti like country.
Yeah.
Like they're separate. And so here comes my military boyfriend who is pro country coming into my family. And I was like, like what's going to happen here? So,
yeah.
But it all worked out. Everybody impressed me with how they get along, and like, it's fine now. So even though he is a very spiritual person, there was like, it was two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're all good now. It's fine. But anyway, that was a little drama.
Wow.
There for you.
Yeah. That's like a formative few years too. Like you're in school, you're just like, I'm just trying to graduate here. And like, that's a lot of moving.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. So then the final move was, he had to do a PhD without all like the pomp and circumstance that goes with it. So the final 4 years we had to move to Minnesota, small town.
Yeah.
In northern Minnesota.
Freezing AF.
I mean, I can't talk.
It's way colder in Minnesota than it is in Toronto.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. It's just the way that the winds blow.
Isn't that a song? Is that a song?
It's like the winds beneath my wing. I don't know.
Do you want to do karaoke tonight?
I'm in. Let's go. Yeah, it has to do with like the cold fronts and the stuff.
And all the Great Lakes.
It's just a lot more snow. And
it was crazy.
Colder. Yeah.
It was like, and we moved to this town. I was 8 months pregnant with my first. We didn't know anybody, knew not a soul, didn't even have a house to live in at that point.
And you're like 20 years old, 21 at this point?
No, I was 30.
Oh, you were 30. Okay.
This is later.
Okay,
on.
later. Okay. So you were with them for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you had kids.
Yeah, because we were traveling. We were just busy.
Yeah.
And I had my goal to have my first kid by the time I was 30.
Got it.
And so somehow that happened. Thank God. But so I was pregnant, scared out of my wits, because I was like, I'm not going to be a good pregnant woman. Everything hurts. Yeah. And it's Minnesota and I'm alone. It's going to be awful. And so at that point, I wasn't working clinically as much anymore because like I still got my license in Minnesota, but I was like, it's pointless for me to, like, nobody's going to hire me if I show up pregnant, right? Nobody's going to hire me. So it came to pass then that my daughter was born 2.5 weeks early. And so we had just moved into our house. It was crazy. We had just moved in the house and I was like, I think I'm feeling something here. And so she was born. And so over the next year or two, it was kind of a low point in my life. Postpartum depression. It was just isolation, just kind of Minnesota darkness.
Yeah.
And so what happened though, Irene, was out of that yuck, my career blossomed. Because I was like, there's nothing else I can control except my career. So what can I do that will help accelerate myself, even though I can't get out of the house? I can't go to events. I can't work clinically right now. What can I do to accelerate my career? And so that's right when all the Facebook groups were getting really popular. I was like, I'll start some Facebook groups. I'll volunteer with some Facebook groups. I'll start trying to write and get into any dental journals I can. and just kind of start making my name without ever even getting out in person. And so for like those probably 2 or 3 years while I had all my babies were babies, that's what I was doing. I'd be like nursing and like trying to finish an article with one hand.
That's crazy.
So that was really the breaking point for me in a lot of different ways of who I am today and becoming an influencer, or key opinion leader, or just owning businesses in dentistry. It all came out of that really crappy year of after having my first kid in Minnesota and being like, oh, I hate it here. I don't know what to do. Like somebody just help me. But I had to take control. I remember at one point I was so miserable. I felt like I was losing control of everything. And I'm like, Andrew, I told my husband, I'm like, I need to go for a drive. I just need to go drive because if I can drive, I can turn the wheel and the car will turn, right? It's that sense of control.
Yeah.
Like I can turn on the blinker. I can turn on the music. I can shift to the AC wherever I need it. It's just that sense of control. Oh boy, did I learn a lot about myself.
Really?
It was insane. But that's part of my journey. And that's the part that, as we look around at even the people here at the trade show floor, it's so easy to judge people and kind of like we all do it just naturally and think, oh, I know the kind of person she is, or oh, I know the kind of person he is, but you don't.
No,
like you don't
no
until you dive under and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
You did pull it out. My God.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Okay. So what year was that? What year did you start like looking at other opportunities in dentistry?
So that would have been about 2016.
So it was just like a couple years before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
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 And how's that changed your life now? I mean, what did a day in the life look like? I mean, obviously you had babies, so it was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But what does a day in the life of you now look like comparative to back then?
Yeah. But what I always knew was I wanted to own my own businesses. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to. I'm a big picture person, so I can't help but always look at things from the top down and see like long term strategy. That's who I am. And I knew that from working all across the United States, and I probably worked in 100 different offices, just temping long term, short term throughout my career. That had given me a perspective that I couldn't lose, and that I needed to take advantage of. Because there's so many of our colleagues, dentists, therapists, assistants, hygienists, who just work in 1 or 2 offices, their entire life, and that's fine.
My best friend.
Yeah.
We went to hygiene school together.
Really?
She is clock in, clock out girl.
Wow, lucky her.
And I say the same thing. It's like, who's at a greater advantage? Is it us who will wake up in the middle of the night jotting ideas down, or like not being able to get to sleep, or having too many opportunities come towards you that you have to say no to them, or and then in the end you're like, I didn't even make any money this weekend. Like I spent more. Fun fact, I forgot all of my SD cards at home. So I, before recording my first episode, went to Target and bought $400 American, which is like $4 million Canadian worth of SD cards. And it's like, just, okay, cool. So that gets knocked off the top.
You want to set up a GoFundMe account? Because we might be able to get something for you.
Someone send me a coffee, please. So no, but it's one of those things. It's like, who's better off? Is it the consistent salaried position person who just like clocks in, clocks out, gets to go home and do whatever the hell they want, not have to do any work? Or is it the hustlers who some months look great and other months are like, shit, this
scrambling
hard. Yeah.
I mean, it's a sense of duty and responsibility though, for the folks like us who can see the change or the gaps in the system.
Yeah.
I think it's a sense of responsibility that we feel like we have to do something about it. Maybe we're not the only ones that have to do something about it, but we have to at least try to work towards the goal and fill the gap.
Yeah.
And go from there. And I think for me, that's the biggest driver is I see where dentistry is going. Sure, I can be wrong. Sure, whatever. But I see it and I want it to get there faster. And so what I want is to create a better experience for both the patient and provider, because working in dental practices, I mean, frankly, it sucks.
Yeah.
Most times it sucks. It's hard. We work in a small mouth and a small op on a small team, and it is just tough. And I'm sure there's great ones out there. I've worked for great ones, but for the most part, it's hard. And
Yeah.
so if we can improve, what we're doing clinically, the patient's going to feel it. If they can have a better experience, a more convenient experience, more transparent experience, more flexible experience, they're going to understand that, they need to take ownership of their mouth and that we're there to be on their team. So I don't know how to get there. We can rewind. I don't know.
I like where we're going with this, but I think we should do this in a part 2. So in part 2, stay tuned, part 2. We're going to talk about where we think some of those gaps are with patients.
Yes.
So stay tuned. And yes.
Ciao.
Peace out, peeps.